me hit the record button. There we go. And in fact, now that I've hit record for posterity, because I swear, I promise, at some point in the future, this will end up on YouTube. I'm going to go back to the lobby real quick because... Oh, hang on. Let's get that
Take
intro
over your
movie down.
channel at any time, buddy.
The Hero Zone presents...
I know you should get...
Yeah, yeah you do. The Hero Zone presents the Chroma Company. So that whole lobby like card was designed and made by Coffee Cat. So if you're like, oh, I don't know, like, what kind of work does Coffee do? Look around this game and through a lot of the emotes as well that we have going on. But thank you, Coffee, for that and for the edit when we swapped our name over. All right,
yeah.
so we are back in the scene, and let's go back to the monastery. As a recap for us all, because we did not broadcast last week, and just to catch you up in whole lethality, you all had boarded the Repentless and was making your way here. A bit, well, on the approach, it was a bit clandestine, because as you're looking for a kidnapper, having a ginormous, metallic, shining Imperator class airship would probably give a hint that, you know, someone might be coming and looking. So, yeah. A little bit of discretion was used, and you all, using Norali's intrinsic flying ability, ended up going overboard the railing of the Repentless and flew the rest of the way to the monastery, having DJ, Selter, Cypher, and Loki veer to the southeast to go to the capital city located on the lake to try and find some information. So there, you've sent them there. You have sent, or at least are hoping, that Casimir is making his way to the northeast, following along the chain of mountains between Islandia and Kandor. And here you are. You made a descent into the monastery. There was an emergency belt that was applied to Norali. And you were met by an eclectic bunch. There were some people who watched you descend with, you know, looks of, oh, what's going on? A lot of people were disinterested or occupied doing other things. And you were greeted by a halfling woman, or at least you thought she was, but she might actually be a monkey, because she turned into a monkey at some point in time. And when did that happen, and why, and what is going on here? And why is it that no one can seem to give you a straight answer to the questions that you're asking? In out of character terms, the culture of this place is, I mean, we have the sort of Eastern aesthetic to the temple in the picture, and that's not untrue. The architecture, even in-game, will stand out against what you're used to seeing in most other places. And it's a mix of a lot of different things, because there's a lot of different people here. But the out of character terms was, you get a mix of Eastern monastery and kind of like hippie commune. Like, people just living their lives in various states of dress, doing different things. Like, some people are gardening and others are just taking a nap, and some people are apparently like boxing their own shadow or just kicking and punching the air. Other people are studious in some way, or writing something, or learning. There's a place there's an area in this monastery where you can go to proselytize other people and shout out your predictions, your conspiracies, your lectures, your religious convictions, and have other people in the crowd answer or follow or something. And the crew then had split up further, with Selene and Mordecai going to the it's a dormitory for newcomers, and you had gone there to just look around, talk to people, and Norlai and Bright were following an odd gnomish fellow who came out and out of the dormitory, handed was handing flowers. Didn't hand one to Norlai and sort of disappeared behind a building in an odd fashion, which sent Bright and Norlai through the monastery compound through a couple different areas. There was a garden where they weren't growing plants, but they were raking sand like it was dirt, and there was rocks and stuff. And there was an outdoor cooking area, and Norlai was trying to figure out what this, maybe someone who took a vow of silence, cook was trying to say, and so Bright and Norlai were working in that regard to make some bread. It ended up with a thunderclap, a lot of water, and the bread being made in a fashion. Meanwhile, Selene, you and Mordecai were just going around this dormitory. Mordecai encountered a piece of art that had it was two sets of handprints. One was handprints just sort of like flat against the canvas, and the next were handprints, but they were just the edges of the hands, like that. And so the broad palms were on the outside of this long rectangular canvas, and just the edge of the palms were together in the center of the canvas. And Mordecai was kind of baffled at this art display, and clapped, which was fun because it was sort of a meanwhile across the monastery. There was a thunderclap that happened. But when Mordecai clapped, other initiates or newcomers or whoever was here actually began clapping and thanking Mordecai for sharing his art, because it turns out that Mordecai was the art in that art piece. It wasn't the canvas or what was on it. Mordecai made music. It was an expression of himself. And you have a tiefling who was walking and talking with you throughout the monastery campus, because the dinner bell was dinging, and it was time to sit down and eat, and it would be a way for you and Mordecai to reconnect with Bright and Norlai. So during this whole initial setup, is there anything in particular that Selene would have had a question about or wanted to see or involve herself with in this initial, hey, we're here, we're taking a very cursory look around the place, and so for sure you're in the initiate dorm, and now you're walking across the monastery towards this outdoor eating area and kitchen?
She probably has questions, but she's not going to speak up about anything just yet.
Okay. Mordecai and Selene, then, as you're walking and talking with your initiate friend, you do pass through the similar areas that Bright and Norlai had. So if you recall, there was you actually passed by a dwarf who is practicing some sort of like slow motion fighting. He's just by himself and is outdoors, dressed in very simple clothing, and is just kind of going through motions of very slow punches and kicks and such. You make your way through a garden filled with trees, but they're all miniature trees. And while there's no one there right now, there are signs that they had been recently tended to, with some little, like not even just big garden shears, but you're also finding like small little like clippers and whatnot in this garden that It looks like a garden. I mean, there are trees, and there's even like little things that would, almost in like a scale diorama, make it seem like a forest. But, well, to us out of character, it's a whole area of bonsai trees. But the caretakers of this area have made an entire garden and forest out of these things, so that you feel as if you're a giant walking through this area. You pass through this weird outdoor garden that doesn't grow plants, but instead there are intricate designs that have been drawn into the sand in this place. And then finally, the smell of food, not the least of which is a lot of freshly baked bread, fills your nostrils. Although I guess that would be more tantalizing to you, Mordecai, because Selene, you're just kind of going through those motions right now. And sure enough, you are able to see the table at which Lorelei and Bright are sitting, which is across from... they're almost like picnic tables that are set out. Across from both of them is this elderly gnome who's very smiling and seems to be very happy.
Well, you guys had an interesting time. Lorelei and Bright.
How are you?
There we
Are you
go.
alright?
Hey, I learned how to talk. I took a little vow of silence there for about 30 seconds. But You're stuck. Yeah, it was a fun day.
Everything's just peachy.
Yeah, and Lorelei, she got a little wet, but it was okay. She didn't mean it.
No. I don't like the people here. They wouldn't give me a tree, and then the stupid water and the bucket. And I really wanted a tree. They're already in portable pots. They're like, no, a tiefling can't take care of a tree. I find that racist.
Did you prove to them that you would be able to take care of it? Like, what did
They
you tell
didn't
them?
listen to me. They didn't listen to me. So I'm just gonna get my own tree.
You're not going to steal from this place, are you?
No, I'm gonna go get my own tree.
Okay.
That was a good question to ask all the same, Mordecai, because bit of a reputation.
Well, found an interesting art piece in the dormitory. Basically, have a clapping motion, and it was odd for them to then start looking at me and say that I was the one who made the art.
People here are weird.
They are, but they're interesting.
I like it here, even if you don't. It's nice
But-
here.
Kind of reminds me of the kinds of things that come out of your mouth sometimes, Bright.
Well, at least you
Yes.
guys got flowers.
It's more like being at home than any place I've been except for home.
That's fair enough. I can see why it's got an appeal to you.
The elder gnome looks over to the two of you, Selene and Mordecai, and he speaks. Do either of you speak Gnomish, or do you need Bright to translate?
I do not speak Gnomish, no.
Okay.
Lorelei speaks a little Gnomish.
Yeah.
Choose the
Let
closest
me
thing.
have a look at my sheet and see if I speak Gnomish, because I speak a lot of languages.
I know all the curse words, how to ask where the bathroom is. I know the
I do
basic.
not. I know
Okay.
many languages, but Gnomish is not one of them. Maybe I should pick up
I
language.
know all the animals and how to count up to 10.
If you wish to localize it any further, Bright, he's going to tell them that she learned the difference between water and rain. And he's looking at you two, Mordecai and Selene. Big ear-to-ear smile, lots of lots of wrinkles on his face from smiling, like all the crow's feet and everything too from it.
No, I think that's a very good way of putting it.
The difference between water and rain.
Rain is just water in the air.
Falling
Maybe
from the
she did
sky.
learn the difference.
Yes. I mean, doesn't have to come from the sky initially. But yes.
Well, it rains pretty consistently here in Mesomasca.
Mhm.
Rains pretty often, actually. I
I haven't noticed.
Well, it did.
Says the girl with the rain shield.
It's a little more cold these days, and I wouldn't be surprised if it turned into snow this winter. But yeah.
We'd get sleep first.
Oh, there's that. Yeah.
We should build a snowman.
What's a snowman?
You've never made a snowman?
No, it doesn't. I've lived here all of my life. It doesn't snow here.
Well, I guess I am a little more north than you. I've only done it like a few times when it got really cold, but you put all the snow into a little ball, and then you stack it up. I mean, we only get enough snow. It's about gnome size, but you put a face on it, with like sticks and rocks, and there's a snowman.
The only place that I've seen snow is at the tops of the mountains, like how high we are up now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something interesting to think about, is the difference between rain and water. Water you often see in like a pool of some kind, like a puddle or something as big as a lake or an ocean.
Or a cup.
Or a cup.
I mean, you just have to see things from the perspective of the water. Water in a pool is water at rest. Water in a river is water with a purpose. Water in rain is water that hasn't found its purpose yet. It's looking for one.
I could not have said it better myself.
Selene, what is your passive perception?
21. Actually, sorry, I have the Sentinel Shield. Sorry, 26. Because I have advantage on perception checks.
You hear a very deep voice, not from like directly behind you or anything, but it's a voice that sticks out, not just because of its low tone, but it is also speaking in very very perfectly accented Elven.
Oh, and that I understand perfectly.
Yes, you do. So I guess then the follow-up question is, like, this is a lock-in for Selene. Do any of the rest of you speak Elven?
No.
I used to, but I forgot it.
You gotta keep up with your practicing.
I knew it in one of the many timelines, but not this one.
Nope.
So Bright also knows the bad words, how to count to 10, and, you know.
Yeah, but I would never say them.
Yeah.
Bright is too pure for that.
She would never say them out loud. She'll think them.
Oh, no doubt.
Or she'll send them in ascending, because that's technically not saying it out loud.
I mean, you taught me the gnomish bad words, so.
Now I'm just imagining ascending from Bright. That's just a string of gnomish curses.
Maybe I just told you they were the bad words, but actually they're like silly words.
That does sound like a very Bright thing to do, if I'm being honest.
Or
I go to insult someone and I'm just confident in them.
Instead of saying the F word, she says fudge.
Yeah.
Replacement
You poopy
words.
head.
Shiitake mushrooms.
So, Selene, as you look around, you see a very interesting specimen of an elven man. He is very tall and very broad. I mean, we're talking like almost like Kronk proportions here. He's also dressed similarly in like a toga, like almost like just one piece of cloth that has been wrapped around his body. And he's talking with a few other monks. The other monks do not appear to be overtly Elvish, but they are responding to him in kind as he is speaking in Elven.
All right. What is he saying?
He is. It's now that you're actively listening, to try and glom onto what he's saying, go ahead and roll an investigation to try and piece together the current topic.
Investigation. Can you go ahead and check your guidance on that? And 1d4. Wow, I typed the command incorrectly. Good job, me. That's a 10.
There we go. Unfortunately, the any sort of greater context isn't very clear. So where your attention finally, I guess, gloms onto what this just slab of muscle is talking about, and we're talking like the square, like the square jaw, the butt chin. Like this is a chiseled, like this is elven flesh. Like he's an upside down triangle on two legs. Like this is,
A Chad, a himbo.
Yeah,
He's the Chad. You may not like it, but this is what elvish peak performance looks like.
The line that you catch as your attention now focuses is, even if the universe is annihilated, it's not destroyed. And he clasps the other student, a monk of sorts, on the shoulder, gives that person kind of a friendly waggle, and turns in your all's direction. And begins to walk your all's way, though he is eyeing a table full of food, and his attention is rather split as his body is traveling in one direction, but his head keeps turning in the other, as he's distracted by the loaves of bread and some of the fruits and other things that have been set out.
He's loading on carbs. That's what he's doing.
And Selene, he critically bumps into you. With his distract. Now, of course, I guess Mordecai, this is practice for me if you wish to cancel the critical accidental bump into.
I think Mordecai's not necessarily paying attention to him at the moment, so.
So there's a critical bumble. Selene and this rather chiseled monk end up in a bit of a tumble. Now, it's not like he was running with bread in his mouth. He was distracted by it, but he didn't have the slice of bread as he was running to school, as per the anime trope. However, it would seem that Selene is just as well in a bit of an awkward situation as she lands on her back, and there's the monk.
Yes.
The monk had accidentally caught his fall on her, but don't worry, his fall was cushioned, and they're in a bit of a tangle.
I bet it was.
And
So,
oh no, go ahead if you want to say something.
well, noticing the tumble now, Mordecai's going to stand up from her seat and say, "Look, buddy, watch where you're going."
Selene, on the other hand, doesn't say that. She kind of just looks down from her position on her back. She just looks down, and she does speak in Elvish. That's a way to say hello.
We just got here and Selene's already falling for people.
This character was looking at you in that moment. Mordecai distracted him, so he's still in contact with you, Selene. Then you distract him from Mordecai. He looks down at the placement of himself upon yourself, and clears his throat. Yes, well, my apologies. He goes to stand up, and he offers a hand, and like Selene, like this man could like palm your face and probably like actually pick you up by your head if he wanted to, but he's offering you like a hand down to pick you up off of the ground.
I'll let him help me up. It's only the right thing to do.
He brings you up, and for a moment he actually like holds you by your arm up so that you're eye to eye contact, because he's taller than you. So, and man, he just has these gorgeous sparkling eyes. The setting sun here at dinner time just seems to dance in him. And as he looks into your oddly colored eyes, in Elvish. And who is dragging this corpse around? And he sets you down.
So Selene kind of raises a finger. She's like, and she says it quietly in Elvish. You can see that.
I can see you. Should I not?
But never mind.
He looks over to you, Mordecai, and then sort of like the rest of you at the table who are assembled, watching the scene. Apologies. I was distracted by the bread.
Is that in common or in Elvish?
Yeah, it's in common. He switches.
I mean, that is understandable. It is very nice looking bread.
Yeah. Listen, just watch where you're going next time and try not to run into my wife again, please.
Ah, your wife. You have my congratulations or my condolences, whichever is most applicable.
Right, sure. And what was your name?
Ah, you wish to know who also drags this corpse around? Oh, I'm sorry, you probably did not understand what I was saying earlier.
Corpse?
Of course. Or in this tongue, of corpse. That's a joke.
Selene does get a chuckle. That does
Yes, you are all
I
new
don't
here.
wish you were better.
Well, if I had money, I would bet that you are new here. That
You're
is...
Icelandian.
Yes.
I recognize the accent.
Oh, you've met others.
Well, yes. Selene here has more or less kind of lost her Icelandian accent, but none other Icelandian elves.
It's present when she speaks Elvish, but it's not in her common.
The phrase is put to have you consider what the essence of you actually is. For aren't we all simply just an entity piloting a corpse? And when the us leaves the body is a corpse all the same. So it is something that is applicable to us all. And
corpse implies that we're walking dead.
No, Mordecai, a corpse is a corpse.
I simply wish to know who is the one doing the dragging of your corpse. And thus you would end up saying who it is that you are.
Just tell them your name.
It's a strange way to put it, but I suppose now that you give it some context, I can understand where that comes from. I am Selene, and this is Mordecai. The dear gnome over there is Bright, and the other tiefling there is Lorelei.
Haven't you heard the song? It goes, a corpse is a corpse, of course, but no one can talk to a corpse, of course. That is, of course, unless the corpse is the target of Speak with Dead.
I have had that one.
Selene actually giggles. I haven't heard that since my days in grade school.
Brilliant! Oh, you are brilliant. He leans down, Bright. Nothing about him. He's trying to be patronizing, but he's super big and you're super not big. So he bends over and he goes to shake your hand. And I mean, this is just a giant of an elf. Like your hand just disappears inside, and he gives it a surprisingly delicate shake. I am Notsag. That is how you may call me.
Okay, Notsag. That's a fun name.
Notsag. All right. And this
That's
is
a very good name. I like it a lot. Have you ever been to Oiho by any chance?
Say that again.
I said, have you ever been to Oiho by any chance?
Oiho? No, I have not been to a place called Oiho.
Oh. Well, that's all right. I think they'd probably like you there.
Is that where the sailors go and they say ahoy?
No. Well, lots of sailors do go there, but not for that reason.
Oh, it sounds like a wonderful place for a traveler to be.
Sure, yeah.
Well, if you're new here, and I see that you're speaking with Brother Flower, and that is apparently what he is calling this this flower vending gnome mystic.
Oh, yeah, we don't actually know his names, but Brother Flower, that sounds completely fair. It's accurate.
He is very wise, though you must pay attention to not just the things that he says. He speaks more with what he doesn't say.
That seems to be a running theme about this place, actually. Either speak in metaphor or speak not at all. And it's a little hard to follow sometimes.
It is something, I suppose, that you've come here to stay? You'll get used to it if so.
No, we are probably leaving in the next day or two. We're looking for someone.
I mean, they keep saying we're going to be leaving in a day or two, but it'd probably be more like a week.
There's
We've only been here 2 hours. There's still plenty of time to leave.
and all the murmuring and metaphors and cryptic phrases simmer down as the dinner gong is rung, and there is a presumably humanoid, seemingly stands upright, but is covered in like a heavy robe and cowl. No real indication of anything other than, well, in D&D terms, you have a medium-sized humanoid. But even then, I don't know, the arms are kind of folded in on each other. And there's a voice that is clearly a magical voice, as it is loud and directionless, but it fills this entire area with the phrase, "Nothing is as it seems." And in response, everyone around you says, "And neither is it otherwise," in a cacophony of languages. But the response to that prompt is, well, it's all the same. Though the voice that you heard, it was in Infernal, Mordecai, perfectly accented Infernal. Selene, perfectly enunciated Elven. Bright, whoever this medium-sized person is, actually has a very firm grasp of Gnomish, because the prompt of "nothing is as it seems" was in rhythm, cadence, and whatever was in perfect Gnomish. Noralai, Infernal, unless you grew up more as a common, someone speaking the common tongue. But that's your DM saying that whatever your native language is, that's what you heard.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting saying. I don't quite understand it. Nothing is as it seems, but it always has been. Oh, you're muted, Bluff.
Yeah, I pushed the wrong push-to-talk button. I took another vow of silence real quick. It's very subtle, because in the original Gnomish, there's so many different ways to say nothing. And
No, Gnomish has 17 different words for nothing, like the French have 17 different words for surrender.
basically, yeah. Because there's nil, and then there's none, and there's nothing, and then there's not. There's just so many different, even in common, there's so many different ways. But in Gnomish, for instance, we have nothing that distinguishes between the imaginary, the hypothetical, and something that used to exist but now it doesn't. So they all don't exist, but they all don't exist in completely different ways, and that's the sort of thing that you can reflect with the word endings in Gnomish. And so he really used that very well.
Did it in Gnomish? I heard Infernal and Common.
I heard a bunch of people talking at once. I caught one word in Gnomish, but I mostly caught on to the Infernal.
Huh, how about that?
That must be someone that we should talk to.
He's probably using some kind of a... if he could be using a tongue spell, for example. That way everybody would hear it in their native language.
Could be.
Notesag looks at you all. Very sorry. There are some people that I will break my bread with. It was nice to bump into you. You, Selene. And if you want, I suppose I could bump into the rest of you to equal it out. Otherwise, take my extended bump offer as an actual bump.
I'm good with no bump.
No, I'm
Alright.
fine.
Thank you. Selene is endeared, but also confused.
Another monk approaches and starts to lead Notsag away, and it's leaving the four of you with both Brother Flower, who is the elderly gnome, and this initiate that had led you, Selene, and Mordecai from the initiate storm out to the dining area.
Mr. Grabby Hands, huh? Well, why don't we go talk to that other person who was talking in multiple languages at once? And, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go do. And Mordecai starts to walk away towards that person.
Okay. The three of you. There's food. There's conversation in all different languages about all different things. If you just want to eat, you can eat.
Don't everybody speak up at once.
I just noticed I was muted for a second.
Vow of silence.
I'm gonna be observing what's going on in the way that people are eating and interacting with each other, but I don't feel the need to say anything right now.
Okay. Sure. So then the three of you are there. You are eating. You are observing, listening. Mordecai, you are getting up to approach the area where this heavily robed figure was standing. After the response, this figure turned and was walking back towards a building nearby. This outdoor sort of dining or picnic area. There's no...
He's gonna call after them.
Okay. There's no guards or anything that are attending this person. As you're making your way there, people are watching you, but also you're new here, or you're calling after this figure. In fact, what are you saying?
Hey, wait, can I bother you for a second?
Okay.
Just in common, because that's more or less his native language. Infernal's is secondary.
The figure stops. Presumably heard you, but there's no other bodily indication, because a half second later, it continues to walk at the same slow, steady pace towards the building it was headed towards.
I'm gonna speed up my pace and try and catch up to them.
Sure. I would like you to make a perception, please.
Perception.
Yeah.
Big money.
Okay. You broke 10. That's something.
It's not much.
You quicken your pace and you're approaching the building. It seems to be difficult catching. Like, you're not losing him. You're making progress, but you're also not catching up to him. And then, as your senses like reactivate or turn on, or like there's just a moment of some kind of realization, you are You know, like if you're all like holding your hand, like, hey, I want to talk to you, or just something along those lines. It doesn't have to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's the door to this building that's in front of you that's closed. And like your hand was reaching out for the handle of the door. The picnic area is behind you, actually kind of a ways. It's not like you ran 10 miles or anything. Like it's over there. In fact, Bright very much stands out. You know, you can still make her out in the crowd. But it's just one of those, something happened. Like a very good example is if you've ever been traveling and you just sort of phase out and you're halfway, like, oh, it's whatever, 20 minutes to the next town, or like whatever, and you get in the car, or you're riding on your bike or bus, or like however you're traveling, and just like your brain flips over and you're already mostly there, and you wonder, or you pass by a mile marker, you're like, what? When did I get to this mile marker? I don't know, I'm in one piece.
Like it disassociated, yeah.
Yeah. So there was kind of this phase out, but you're there. You're still on the grounds, and there's the door. So you can continue to reach out for this iron ring to open the wooden door, or you can do something else.
I'm gonna open the door.
Sure.
I assume this person was going towards this place.
Athletics, please.
Athletic. Oh no.
These are always fun.
Not good at this. I'm a weak boy. I am a weak boy.
You dig your heels in. You know, you're almost like leaning back. You can use your tail as like support as you're leaning back on your heels really hard to try and I don't know. This must be it's a heavy door. Maybe it's rusted, or but you're having a tough time in the immediacy here. A snap across the courtyard to you all at the table. Your meal has been going on. Bright Brother Flower has been conversational in a sense, or at least with himself, because he seems to be chuckling at a lot of jokes that also might be told to himself. He's a very amused individual. And at one point, he looks to the three of you that are still here, reaches into his into a voluminous sleeve, and in Gnomish, though to Noralai and Selene it would be fairly obvious, Bright can still translate. He's offering you mushrooms that he has.
Sure, I'll take some mushrooms. What are they for? Are they for eating, or are they for planting? Are they for cooking? What are they, the funny kind of mushrooms? How do they work? What are they for?
Eat. Eat.
Okay. I trust you. But if I'm seeing the wrong kind of rainbows in the morning, I'm gonna have words.
Noralai, you've been offered a mushroom by a strange gnomish monk. What are you doing?
Oh, you'll give me a mushroom but not a flower.
Eat?
I take the mushroom.
Okay.
I take the mushroom.
Oh, so you take the mushroom and then you take the mushroom.
No, I just take the mushroom. I'm pouty though.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for Bright to eat it first.
Okay.
Okay, I'll eat the mushroom. I'll be the guinea gnome.
Selene, you are offered a mushroom as well by this widely smiling gnome.
Do I
Too bad I
take
don't have Herbert. He was good at detecting if mushrooms were bad or not.
Oh, I don't think they're that kind of mushroom, because like those kinds of mushrooms were all kinds of trouble. It doesn't.
I will accept the mushroom. Where is it? Hold on. I need to do a thing.
Okay.
I will accept it. Yeah, that should be on my list. I don't know why it's not. But I am also going to, quietly cast Detect Poison and Disease on myself.
On yourself?
Yes, because it's a detect spell that you cast on yourself that allows you to sense the presence and location of poisons, poisonous creatures, and diseases within 30 feet. You can also identify in each case.
Yeah, so your detect poison and disease does showcase that there are people here with various afflictions, disease-wise. And as for poison, there's a lot of things that are showing up as poisonous. Some drinks, different foods. There's some kind of maybe a meat of some variety that is detecting as poison.
So there's something nearby that's detecting as poison.
The mushrooms do as well. But Brother Flower pops one in his mouth, and he's quite happy with it.
I do get to identify it in this case. So what is it? Is it as I suspected? Is it some kind of psychoactive?
No, it's not psychoactive. It is a cleanser, an internal cleanser.
So it makes you go to the bathroom.
Keeps
So
things moving.
it's a laxative. Promotes bowel health. You know what? Sure. Why not?
I don't know if you have to worry about it, because you really don't even have bowels, do you? I mean...
Nah, not really.
It's so you could do it for the
pretty
looks.
Sure that by nature I'm immune to poison, so...
You could do it to, like, fit in, like, nom nom nom, and, you know...
Yeah, just
I'm gonna sleight of hand my mushroom over to Selene.
I'm gonna deny her that. No, you don't get to force this off on me.
I'm not gonna eat it.
You should.
No.
Don't you want to fit in?
No.
All the cool kids are taking mushrooms.
Yep.
This is peer pressure. My brother warned me about this.
Bright, it tastes really, really good. This is like the quintessential umami flavor. It's very potent.
Mommy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like drinking soy sauce. I guess that maybe that's not doesn't give you the whole picture, but it's pretty good.
And well, at least as the two of the three of you eat the mushrooms. Good.
Nice flavor.
I'm just gonna keep eating the bread.
Okay. Hey, I mean, you made it, so why not enjoy it? The bread.
I know I went into this.
The bread, it is fresh. It's also maybe the bare minimum of what will qualify for bread. There's really no flavor to it. It's a very hard style loaf. It
I've had
is.
worse.
I'm sure you have. It's not filled with, like maggots or anything. But it's just a very almost tasteless, like, maybe if you chew too hard, it would almost feel like it would shatter in your mouth like glass and cut the inside of it, because it's whatever the flour they use is, I don't know, it's or the recipe or something. Maybe that monk needed to beat that dough up a little bit more, but it's crunchy.
Maybe they beat it up too much. Too much gluten.
We're gonna cut back now across the courtyard to Mordecai. You have been trying at this ring on the door, and it is not budging.
I am going to knock on the door.
Okay. I don't need a particular check for that. I'll give that one to you for free. I'm generous.
Just kind of waiting for someone to answer.
There is no answer. There is a knock. The knock sounds normal. I mean, it's knuckles on wood.
You were heading in this direction. Then I lost sight of you. Why did I lose sight of you? Why did I space out there for a second? I kind of check my pockets, make sure nothing's missing.
Oh, clever. You check your pockets, and everything that's there should be there.
Good. Good. Alright, if you're gonna be a little tricksy.
I should
I'll be a little-
check mine too now that I think about it.
I am going to search for this individual. I don't know how well a locate creature is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Okay. Let's see, describe or name a creature that's familiar. I don't think you'd be familiar enough with this character for the spell to be able to find its target.
Familiar is observed up close for at least a minute.
Ah, yeah. I didn't never get that close. I would probably know that then and not be.
Yeah, you don't need to consume your spell slot. I mean, the idea could still come to you, like, oh, I wonder. Well, if I'm describing a medium-sized humanoid in robes, then you're like 90% of this place is gonna light up for you, and
Yeah, that's not gonna be all that useful. All right. Well, what can I do instead? Are there windows to this place?
There are. Well, not necessarily windows, but if we use this pagoda-style building on the map as an example, at the very top there are open areas. So no glass or shutters, but it is window-ish. It is part of a building exposed to the outside.
And how tall is the awning from me?
It would be 40 feet from the ground for you.
Jeez. Nope, I can't jump that high. I really don't want to use that today.
Could I tempt you with... Could I tempt you with a religion roll, perhaps?
A religion? I can work with that. Ooh, that's a 22.
All right. You're weighing your options, Mordecai, and you were thinking about this not too long before. So it just so happens that the whispers in your brain are telling you what they're telling you now. Maybe there was something to that lapse, to that... This is a strange place filled with strange people.
Mm-hmm.
But you sort of phased out there. You wanted to meet this person. You wanted to be at this building. And you showed up to the building, and that's when you sort of came to again. Maybe there's something about it. You know, if people talk to each other in riddles, maybe there's a riddle or there's some alternative way to believe or insight or the way to enter the building is not the obvious. It could be magical. Could be simply a product of, you know, maybe desire. Or it could be some sort of a trick or a clue to find to solve a problem to get inside of, instead of just pulling on the ring and opening the door.
There's wishing and desiring for something is definitely a strong thing we've come across many times. And so he's just going to kind of reach out his hand toward the door and kind of verbally say, I want to meet the person who spoke at dinner. He's gonna close his eyes and let something happen.
Okay. You close your eyes. You're there. You're touching the door. You have this desire in your heart. The wish, in a sense, left your lips, and kind of crack one eye open, peek around. The door's still there, and you're still there. Yeah, you're at the same building.
What, does the building have a spirit or something? Is that what I'm missing here?
You're missing nothing. A voice from behind you says.
He turns around.
There's a heavily robed figure with vaguely discernible humanoid features. But you see no face or arms or anything other than the robes that this thing is wearing.
I have questions to ask. If you would, I mean, you could say no, but I'm looking for a woman named Mercury.
Mercury. The voice repeats in Infernal. Whatever accent or...
You've never heard of that person?
Step further inside.
Lead the way.
He already is. He is walking into the building, and so are you. You're on the inside of it. And in fact, looking behind you, you've actually been, like, You've been walking towards a set of stairs from the front door for 10 seconds or so.
Oh, that's weird. What is that?
A door.
No, that's not what I mean. The loss of time. I don't remember walking that far.
Yet you had.
You're not futzing with my memory, are you?
No more than I am already a part of your memory. Do you trust yourself? If not, you cannot trust me. If so, then you may.
Trust myself. I trust myself to know that this world is dying. And I need all the help that I can get. And one such being is a dragon from another plane of existence that was kidnapped by a demon named Mercury. Mercury won't help us.
Mordecai, you are sitting on a large cushion, and there's a pot of tea that is already starting to steam. And this figure is sitting on a large cushion across from you in an otherwise rather empty room. But there's a fire, and there's tea, and it smells nice. How that happened? Oh. But you've apparently been telling your story to this character over tea.
Just kind of letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know you?
In which sense?
You haven't given me your name.
Correct.
My name is Mordecai.
You may address me as Regal.
Regal. Pleasure to meet you, Regal. So do you know anything
Many things.
about Mercury? About Suviwall? About Ouijas? About Shonaruth?
Some. But what would my knowledge do for you? If you've come here to this place seeking answers, then you've come for the wrong reason.
Suppose it's left me with a lot more questions.
That is why people come.
Yeah, I suppose they would. But I need to find Mercury. I need to find Tam. I've been tasked to save this world. Me and my wife. Directly, in a way.
And it must be done now.
If we don't, the world will freeze.
And?
All life will cease to exist. The
And?
planet will be a barren wasteland. And all will be forgotten.
Mordecai, as you say this, you are up in that top level of the pagoda, actually looking out of one of those openings. And Regal is standing beside you, and you're looking out from, like, over the mountainside from this vantage point. Because the monastery is already up on the mountain, and now you're even higher in this pagoda tower. As you're discussing all of this. The wind blows through your hair. Regal's robes do move in the wind.
And if everything is forgotten, she wins. We just wins. She's not the benevolent goddess that I was taught as a child. She doesn't wish to preserve life, but instead wishes for the death of everything. And so does Shonaruth. From what I can gather. I don't know that they're in league with one another or not, but seems like so many forces are competing for the resources and survival, and the world is overwhelmed. She can't take it anymore. That's why we've told her we'll help.
The robes on the figure beside you continue to flit in the wind.
So that's what we're doing here.
Mordecai. A monk once made a request of me. I have just entered the monastery, he said. Please, give me instructions, Regal. I asked, have you eaten your breakfast? The monk replied, yes, I have. Then, wash your bowls.
So proceed to the next step. The the trouble is we don't know where to find her.
Regal is no longer beside you.
Regal? I kind of look out towards the sun. What time is it?
The sun has almost set below the horizon. It is dark. The shadows are very long, and the lights from the eating area are brighter than the ambient light was. Not a lot of a reasonable amount of time has passed, but just those weird in-betweens are the most jarring part. In the grand scheme of things, unless it's like the next day and the same weather, the same everything, you probably haven't moved far ahead. But you're at the top of this. You're at the top of this building. You can see a lot. You can look out over the mountain to the horizon and the sea. You can look down at the courtyard of the monastery, see the people. There's some who are laughing and joking and eating. Some are quiet, and we'll find out if there's anything going on at the table where the others are.
Well, he's probably just gonna stare off into the mountains for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just seeing if something catches his eye in the distance.
The evening sun sparkles off of the water. There are some stars that are starting to rise and twinkle. The clouds are almost descending down over the mountain to settle in for the evening, like a blanket. And there's just kind of a joyous bliss to everything here, Mordecai. The fire of the sun, the water, both the distant sea, the pool, the glimmering pool in the middle of the monastery, the cloud and fog as it settles. The fact that here you are, up among the winds, but also solidly connected to the earth through this mountain. This is a very harmonious convergence. And it's also quiet. You've been able to just think and observe. You're taking the time to look around you.
It's probably not shortly after that he pulls out his violin and just starts to play.
Your song will resonate through the stone structure. Meanwhile, below, while this is going on with Mordecai, none of you have heard any sort of frantic pleas. Nothing is on fire. There's no collapsing buildings or, demons tearing the heavens apart. That's all very good. As dinner should be. There's a variety of things for you to eat, and dinner is what you would like it to be. If you want to specifically socialize with an individual who might look interesting to you, or a table of people who might be dressed or undressed in particular ways, if you want to go find Natsog, or you want to just get up and steal a tree from the bonsai garden. It's not saying you got to do that, but you could.
No, I'm just gonna get my own. I'm gonna make my own bonsai tree. It's gonna be better than everyone here.
Okay. Then dinner proceeds apace. And Norlai, did you eat the mushroom at all?
No.
Okay.
I was actually planning to slip it back into his basket when he wasn't looking.
He didn't have a basket. He got it from somewhere in his sleeve.
Then I'm gonna put it in front of Selene when she's not looking.
Okay.
It's gonna be a sleight of hand versus my perception. You know that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Ooh.
18.
I also have advantage on this, so. No. No, I don't think you will.
I try anyways. I just like push it towards you. I'm not eating it.
And Selene pushes it back. Well, you don't have to eat it, but stop trying to force it on me.
I don't want it.
Then why did you accept it then?
Because he didn't give me a flower.
Brother Flower, in Gnomish, so Bright, if you want to translate or reconfigure what I will tell you he's saying in Gnomish, as he's observing the exchange, he actually has a frown on his face, and given that the wrinkles in his face are from smiling so much, it's almost like it's super distorted and very disturbing looking. Now that you're getting the upward wrinkles, like all stretched down into a grotesque frown, or a look of disapproval, and he says with a very sad looking face, "I gave you a flower, and you rejected it."
You didn't give me a flower. You never gave me a flower.
Oh. Well, I mean, if Bright shares this, of course.
Right, are you sharing this?
You mean like to translate it?
Yeah.
I might mistranslate it. I'll probably say something. Oh goodness. I'm sorry, I choked earlier and I'm having trouble with my voice. This is why I take these vows of silence. I would probably say something like, he wants to talk to you about the flowers.
Okay. What about the flowers? Because he didn't give me one.
She says she'd be happy to take a flower now.
I gave that young woman a flower, and she gave it away.
I don't think she realizes what you were doing. I don't think she understands how to take a flower.
Is she the type who can learn?
I mean, she's not slow in the head, if that's what you mean.
She must be taught a lesson. It is unkind to reject a gift after it has been so desperately sought.
I know. But I just don't think she understands. It's hard for her. She's not like us. She's from a different culture. Very different. More different even than you would think by looking.
Did the wetness of the rain or the rainness of the water not teach her?
Not really. I don't think she appreciated what... I don't think she appreciated the lesson. It was kind of like the flower in that respect.
She must be taught so she can see, so she can appreciate. Life is too short to not appreciate the flowers found throughout it.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think you could maybe try a different way? I mean, she just doesn't think the way we do. She's not a gnome.
It will take time, but she appears to have none.
Well, everybody here is in such a hurry except for me. They just want to get in and get out, find their people. They're not really appreciating the lessons here, and that's why you come here. You come here to learn. But nobody else is here to learn. They're just here to solve a problem.
And if you told them there's no answers here, they would become upset, would they not?
I mean, I'm not sure there are no answers here. I mean, that is why we came here.
There are questions here, which is why you have come. This is a place of questions and not answers.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the rain and the water, right? The questions and the answers. You can't really have one without the other.
He's contemplative. He has a tear that certainly let go of the side of his eye a while ago, but it's sort of navigating the maze of wrinkles on his face. So there's just been kind of a constant little glimmer in the sunset every so often, as it's kind of carefully working its way down through his wrinkles on his cheeks and face. He stands up, arranges his robes. Norelai, after there's been this exchange in front of you and Selene and Gnomish, he looks to you and gives you a very sad smile. And in partially broken, or at least accented common, he talks to you, Norelai. I was asked, "Where are you going, Senior Monk?" I said, "I am on pilgrimage, following the wind." "What are you on pilgrimage for?" was asked me. I say, "I don't know." He say to me, "Non-knowing is most intimate. And I left. The tear that had been navigating the labyrinth of wrinkles on his cheek manages to fall free and plips onto the picnic table. And he hobbles away into the growing dusk.
Okay. Right, yeah, you didn't translate any of that, so I don't know what's going on.
That was in common.
Well, no, I'm referring to the conversation.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, he told me that he wanted to understand. What you have is a failure to communicate. He really wanted to give you a flower. And he feels like he tried, and it just didn't work. But of course,
he never
that's
gave
in
me a
gnomish-
flower.
I know, that's in gnomish thinking. So that's why you have a failure to communicate. So he doesn't understand. It's kind of funny. He doesn't understand why you don't think he gave you a flower, and you don't understand why he thinks he didn't give you a flower. So I think you should just try again, and be open-minded. You're gonna have to, go with the flow if you want the flower.
It's not that hard to give someone a flower. He had flowers. I don't even know why he didn't give me one in the first place, because he gave everyone else one.
Lorelei.
What?
Think about what flower means in this context.
What's the context? The physical flower. You all got a physical flower. An actual flower.
I
And I was like,
only got a
no.
mushroom.
Yeah, I didn't get one.
No, earlier.
I was on the other side of the fence. Yeah, Selene, we got one earlier. You must have forgotten.
Yes, I
You
did.
must have not been paying attention.
Yeah, the mushroom
Look in
isn't a
your
flower.
backpack.
It
It's
is a
probably in
fungus.
there.
I was taught by Mr. Halver about funguses. They are not flowers. They are not plants. They're their own thing.
And yet they bloom as flowers do they not?
Yeah. And you can detect them with locate plants and animals, even though they're not either of those things.
Well, they're somewhere in the middle, but they're not flowers.
Again, think about
They don't do any of the things that flowers do.
Again, think about the gift in the context in which it was given to you.
It still wasn't a flower.
You're getting tied up in semantics, Lorelei. That's normally my job.
I mean, if you told Mordecai you wanted a bouquet of flowers and he gave you a bunch of mushrooms, what would you do?
I'd still accept the gift gratefully. Even if it was not exactly what I wanted, it's not about the gift, it's about the spirit in which it's given.
Actually, that's kind of the normal situation for gnomes. To switch it up like that.
See? Even Brad agrees with me there.
As you know, gnomes are weird about gifts. We do it very differently from the other cultures.
I don't know. It's like saying you want fruit and someone gets you a tomato. Technically, it's right, but you know that's not what they wanted.
And yet the gift will be accepted anyway, with as much appreciation as if they had given them exactly what they wanted.
Bright, it's about this time that, Selene and Norlai, you hear it too, but there's just a...
I mean, one time my mother was picked to serve on a special town committee, and everyone got fruit baskets. And what they got were baskets woven from banana peels. That's just the sort of gnome kind of thing.
Well, at least that's a basket and food.
Okay, somebody
what's
has
bubbling?
indigestion. Who has the indigestion?
Selene's looking around.
Bright
Is
is
it
the one
Selene?
making those voracious gurgling noises.
Well, it is a cleanser. I suppose that's what that meant.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't eat it.
It's commonly believed that gnomes don't poop, but I'll be right back.
You go blow it up, right? We'll be here.
Bright, Bright gingerly leaps down from the picnic table and runs with a bit of a clench to somewhere. There's not exactly like a "hey, bathroom over here" sign, so use your gut instinct. And
Yeah, my literal gut instinct.
yeah. This leaves Norlai and Selene at the table. Unless there's anything that you two want to, you can talk with each other. You can talk with the liaison, the tiefling liaison that brought over Selene and Mordecai. He's still there eating. He's been observing quietly and respectfully. You can go walk the grounds as the dinner phase is pretty well over. People are getting up, stretching. Some are doing some exercises or cleaning up. Just starting to go back towards their dormitory. What would you like?
I imagine that Norla and Selene just sit awkwardly, stare at each other, and not know what to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because between the two of them, they probably interacted the least.
And I mean, there was that time that Selene kissed Norlai.
Yeah, that's him.
So much is said, though no words are uttered. Then, as you two are sitting at the table, people are going hither and thither. At some point, the large specimen of an elf is walking past and having a conversation, though it is difficult to tell with whom, because it doesn't look like there's anyone walking beside him. And as he turns down a path to go towards some other place in this facility, you see that there is some kind of a small woodland creature on his shoulder, and he's talking to it in a very conversational tone. Squeak, squeaker, squeakums.
Squeak, 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 squeaker, squeak, squeaker, squeakums. That's interesting.
Where's Mordecai, by the way?
Yes, where is my husband?
Meanwhile,
Keep track of
across the courtyard, Mordecai, you
Probably
are.
start to hear a violin by now.
You had been playing your music into the night air from the top of this old, rather. It's not like derelict. It's not going to fall over, but really, the inside of this place is rather barren and dusty. And in fact, make an investigation.
It's not my greatest stat.
Nope, it's not.
Nope. I'm not paying attention. I am engrossed in the music that I'm making right now.
So you're playing music. Well, it's to an empty hall, maybe to yourself or to the greater land itself. As you are at this nexus point for the various experiences it has to offer. The clouds and the fog are descending over the monastery, and it is now dark. I mean, I know you have dark vision, but darker, cooler. The night air is carrying a damp chill, and a bit with that too, Mordecai. Like, you ache. And it's just that kind of older in your bones sort of ache.
Oh, great. He kind of like clenches his fist a little bit because it's probably also aching his fingers a little bit to be playing on his violin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a bummer. Any more of this, I'm not going to be able to play anymore. He puts his violin away, kind of cracks his knuckles a little bit, trying to relieve some of that ache. He's 30, and he feels like he's 55. Probably looks 55 too.
You signed up for this.
And so he's going to make his way back down through the building and back to the others.
Yeah. You begin making your way out of the building. You pass by there's no more fire for the tea, and that set is cooled off. And you're thinking about your aches and pains, and you sort of like glance down at your hand, and you hear probably Norelai say, "Oh, hey, Mordecai, when did you get here?"
Oh. Sorry, I was spacing out there for a second. I'm back.
It was about time.
Bright, you are on your way if you want to come back here anyway.
Yeah. So what sort of place did I find?
That is up to you. There is a giant sand garden that could be a litter box. There's plenty of trees. There's little crevices you could have ducked into.
That could use some fertilizer.
Well, that's what I was thinking. What about all those potted plants?
Yep, there's plenty back in the garden.
Okay. So, what I'm gonna do is is there anybody around?
There are some. I don't necessarily need the rolls because I especially know the kind of trickster magic that you have. I'm sure that this was its own side adventure of you trying to desperately find a place to relieve the ache, and there's people around, or you have to sneak, or you have to be discreet about it.
Oh, I have so many options.
Yeah,
just trying to decide which is the most fun.
So that's that'd be a fun little like a side. But I'm sure something has happened where mischief was abound because it really can't be helped. But you're able to dodge people walking past or trying to find a private place or a private moment because the mushroom absolutely did what it didn't say on the label because it didn't have one.
Yeah. This is why we have labeling laws now.
But
okay, so
I will say,
here's
for it, you actually feel like now that the moment has passed, you actually feel, I don't know, like internally refreshed. Like it was very much a cleansing. Because, like, yeah, it was everything out, but now that everything is out, like, I don't know, like, it's not a bad feeling.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be. Okay, so here's the way it went down. Okay, so I went into the garden, and there were some people there. They had just finished their dinner and they were just going for a walk in the garden, as one does after dinner.
Yeah.
It's very nice. So what I did was I cast invisibility.
Okay.
So yay. So I just found a place where they weren't actually physically going to trip over me. Turn myself invisible. Okay, we'll just do the business right there.
Okay.
And then what I would do is I use the mold earth to mix it all up.
Okay. All right.
And then I use my mage hand to distribute it among the potted plants.
Ah. We recycle here.
Yeah, I think this is the most monastery way of doing things.
You're probably not far off from what actually the monks do, so.
Yeah, it's just they just don't. Well, I don't know. Monks they do all kinds of fun things. They can probably turn invisible too. So anyway, that's all. I thought I had lots of options. This seemed like the most constructive because I do want to be constructive here.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, you find relief, though. You can turn invisible, but you might be turning heads unless you have some sort of noise suppressant. If not, then people are going to have to wonder what is going on in these mountains at night. What sort of creature lurks in the shadows. And
Oh, well, I mean, it's easy enough to suppress the noise. I mean, not really suppress it, but I can use a minor illusion to mask the sounds.
okay.
It'll be probably the sound of distant thunder.
Storms are coming. So here you are trying to juggle various sensory spells in this moment of desperation. And what a side adventure. But yep, you do return, and hey, Mordecai, as you're walking up, Mordecai is there, and, well, the four of you are together. It is nighttime. There is a fog that is descending down upon the monastery. And so the lights that are not everywhere here, but what lights there are lit are very diffuse, and everything just has a softness, and even now, geez, convenient, sound seems to be somewhat dampened by the fog. There are some shapes that are shuffling off from the kitchen area, just sort of, humanoid-looking blobs just dissipating into the fog before you can't see them anymore.
Well, I found the person who was speaking to the rest of the crowd, calls himself Regal. Interesting fella. What did you guys get up to?
Mordecai, do you think a mushroom is flour?
Is that what you just had to focus on?
It is a thing that grows in the earth. If that's what qualifies a plant, then that's what qualifies a plant.
No, a flower. Specifically. Do you know your science?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so is a mushroom a flower?
Technically, no.
Okay, thank you.
What
Why
did I
is this
tell you about
important?
semantics, Lorelei?
Why is this important? Why are we talking about mushrooms?
If someone gives you a mushroom, you wouldn't say they gave you a flower, right?
Did they? I don't.
Just answer the question.
I need some
They're not the same
context
thing,
for
right?
this.
No, here's the context. Are flowers and mushrooms the same thing? Because if someone gives you a mushroom, they can't claim they gave you a flower, right?
I used to have mushrooms growing all over me, so take that what you will. That was
you
not
say
a
you were
pleasant
covered in
experience.
flowers.
No, I suppose not.
Okay.
They look very different.
Again with the semantics.
It's not semantics.
It is semantics.
What are we
No.
arguing?
If someone gives you a mushroom, they aren't giving you a flower. So if you ask for a flower, you shouldn't give them a mushroom.
Wait, you're still going on about that?
You were there.
I was there when the person didn't give you a flower.
Yeah, they gave me a mushroom and then said he gave me a flower.
Why are you looking at gift horse in the mouth?
Exactly.
It's not a horse.
That's what I've been trying to say.
Poor Norlai. Everyone's crazy pills.
Norlai. There are these things, right?
Have you stopped to
They're
consider that
called
you are the
idioms.
flower?
I've only turned into a flower once.
Yeah, that's more times than any of us.
Well,
You guys don't have as fun lives as I do.
no, we're tied.
I mean, it's like the old necromancer saying, never look a gift corpse in the mouth.
To be fair, she's had this power long before she met you and I, Selene.
Very true, but as far as the times that I have seen, we are tied, one each.
And you are a sorcerer.
And
One.
Born in the flowers, right?
I mean, maybe.
Probably.
Likely.
Go ahead, keep going.
Maybe. I mean, there's no one around to ask, so.
Keep going.
You are the flower, Norlai.
I am a tiefling, and tieflings are not flowers. Flowers are plants. Tieflings are animals. We're in the animal kingdom.
Norlai, where do you get your power?
I was born with it.
Exactly. You are the epitome of a child of the earth,
No,
as I've come to understand it. And so you are the gift.
What's that have to do with giving a flower?
Zuvio gave you to us. What's so
That has
funny?
nothing to do with this situation.
No,
You religious folk, honestly.
Hey.
I'm
Stop
barely
that.
religious folk.
Stop that.
You're
None
literally
of that.
talking about how
None
the
of that.
land they gave me as a gift. Well, here's the thing. I know exactly where babies come from.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, at least
Okay.
I don't have to have that. At least I don't have to have that talk.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't just sprout out of the ground. I had two parents, like everyone else.
So far as you know.
Are you accusing my parents of something?
No.
Better
I'm
not be.
saying
You don't
I'm
know.
saying they can't verify that, sadly.
And Norlai,
This
I'm
world is
gonna
weird
give you
enough.
I'm gonna give you a single piece of advice.
You know what? Hold on, Mordecai. You see these horns? My dad had these horns, and my brother had these horns. These are my family's horns, so it is quite proof enough of who my family is.
Fair enough.
But Nala, you need to stop thinking about things so literally.
This place is about the figurative. The metaphor.
Don't logic it out, intuit it.
Metaphors are dumb.
Yeah, they are kind of dumb, but sometimes they're insightful.
I know a lot of things that fit that description.
Wait, what?
Dumb but insightful. I said I know a lot of things that fit that description. And I do. I know many things.
I'm not sure if that's a crack at me.
It's not a crack at you.
I'm not exactly bright, but you know.
It's not a crack at you, Mordecai.
I know I'm an idiot sometimes.
Mordecai. She leans over and she cups both of his cheeks with her hands. Darling, it's not a crack at you. Calm down. Okay?
The himbo groped you.
Right. The jealousy bit. I was expecting this. He fell over.
I realize that.
Oh, maybe he didn't actually fall over, and it was just a metaphor for something. Don't take things so literally, Selene.
Selene slow turns to Norlai.
As does Mordecai.
I will kick you
Yeah, and I'll kick you back.
in the shins. Is that
Try
what
to
you
reach
want?
them
You
and
want to get
shit.
kicked in the shins?
You know what? Try to reach me, and I just fly up like 20 feet.
I think you forget
How high
that I
can you
fly
kick,
now
Selene?
too. I think you forget that I can also fly now.
Come at me!
Are we really gonna fight over this? Really?
I will kick you in. I will kick you in the I will kick you in the shins, Norlai. Just
You
you
can't
wait.
reach them.
You'll have to come down from there sometime.
No, actually, I can do this as long as I want.
You'll have to sleep eventually.
Yeah? And, well, you don't sleep, so whatever.
Yeah. There's about an 8-hour period there where you are completely and totally vulnerable. Do not test my patience.
All right, girls.
I think she's just still salty about that time that I kissed her.
Oh yeah, Mordecai, why don't you talk about that, huh?
That was also before we started dating, mind you.
Yeah,
Right.
like a few days, honestly.
Not days.
That happened, and then the very next day you guys got lost in the desert.
And I kissed right before that, so
Yeah,
Exactly.
both of
So
you have
this is
very
the-
weird ways of expressing your feelings.
I don't think this is weird at all. See, Naralai? Watch this. And she's just gonna go ahead and grab Mordecai by both cheeks, pull him in, and start kissing him rather passionately.
From the
Yeah, but you two love each other.
from the fog, there's a as the tiefling escort simply tells you, if You can find your way back if you stick to this path, but I will leave you to your conversation. Just know that, well, there's a saying that we have. If one raises a speck of dust, the house and nation prosper. If one does not raise a speck of dust, they perish. He chuckles to himself at Norali's blowing up at this cryptic BS. Though he chuckles to himself and walks into the dark fog, having given you directions if you follow this path, hopefully to bring you back to the initiate dormitory.
You know, why can't people just say what they mean?
Mordecai at that point just kind of pulls away from Selene a little bit awkward, a little bit flustered. He's never been one for explicit PDA. He is blushing to high heaven. I think that we could all use some sleep.
And the darkness and the fog will take the scene as we get up to take about a little bit of a 10-minute break here, everyone. When we come back, we will continue the monastery discoveries, the interactions, the networking. I don't know what you'd want to call this. The hijinks. As Chroma Company.
I have things to do before sleep.
Okay. Like mischief or actual things?
Mischief.
Okay. I mean, noted. It is a relevant thing. But I didn't know if it was like, no, I actually, like, before I sleep, there's these mechanical things I have to do.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, it is mechanical, but mostly it's mischief.
Okay.
Mechanical mischief.
So 10-minute break, everyone. Keep your eyes on Bright's cupcake. That sounds lewd, but just trust me. If you have any donos, you re-up a sub or bits or whatnot. Watch what goes on there because it's a fun little. It's an Easter egg inside of the cupcake. Anyway, you'll see it. Enjoy the original music that we had composed for it too, and we'll be back in a little bit to continue the story.